That was the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Hey, but if you cannot satisfy as the man, figure it out. They got all types of stuff.
Please don't say nothing that she just said.
No, it's that CTE you got acting up. Yeah, let's talk.
They never ran out of soap. You want some hand sanitizer, but you're not washing your behind.
That's for sale.
Down, shaking together, shall men give unto your
You ain't pressing.
Just think to yourself, hey, might not even last. Maybe that'll make you feel better right now.
Who talking?
Got all types of stuff.
And that's my
Figure
final word.
Family.
Yo.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Good to see the family. Good to see everybody watching us for another day of Sticks and Stones. We appreciate you guys, man. We appreciate y'all giving us an hour of your Friday nights, man. We really do. Because you could be anywhere on social media watching TikToks, or you could be watching that horrible Genius documentary, but you're not. You're sitting here and you're watching us, and we appreciate that.
You said that horrible what?
Genius documentary. What documentary?
What Genius documentary? It's that Kanye documentary on Netflix.
Why is it horrible? Hold on, wait a minute now. That is not a horrible. What makes it horrible?
What makes it horrible?
I've watched it. I've watched the first 2 episodes.
Man, look. You want to know
what's horrible about it?
I'll tell you what's horrible about it. Cootie, the narrator.
What's wrong with Cootie?
This is the narrator of the Genius documentary, and I quote, literally, and I quote: "When I first saw Kanye rap, I just knew he was gonna win Grammys.
Bro,
I decided to move to New York and leave my career to record Kanye. A lot of people ask, Cootie, why would you leave your job and record Kanye? Well, the answer is, when I left, I just knew he was gonna make it big, and I just wanted to be there and see it happen." That's Cootie.
Okay, so
the worst narrator in the history of narrators.
This is the big deal about that whole documentary, right? Because I was a Kanye fan. I was kind of in the music around that time. You know what I mean? I was alive, and all this stuff was happening. So now it's an opportunity for me to kind of relive what I already knew what was happening. Like I'm not really paying attention to Cootie. I'm paying attention to the content because it's interesting, because now it's kind of giving information to what was happening behind the scenes that I didn't know or that I didn't see. You think about the aesthetic of it, and I think it's cool. It's a home video cam. I mean, it ain't like
I ain't complaining about the home video. I'm complaining about Cootie. Cootie could have had anybody narrate that. I would have took Morgan Freeman also.
But why would you want Morgan Freeman to narrate something like this?
Anybody but Cootie, bro. Cootie has no personality.
Man, he don't need it.
On the whole way.
He don't need it. He don't need the personality.
We do need the personality.
He don't need
This is Cootie the whole time.
No.
When I first saw Kanye rap. That's Cootie the whole time.
We don't need the personality. The interesting parts is the content.
Man, we need the content is cool, but we need something.
Man, look.
We need something. Goodness gracious.
Yeah,
we did not run the ladies off.
It seemed like it.
Brother Elkins, we did not. Erica is on assignment right now. She is teaching pastoring right now. Erica is on assignment. And Faye, y'all, it's about showtime.
It's the baby, the biscuits are ready. You hear me?
We just waiting for them to come out the oven.
You're ready to come out the oven.
We just waiting for them to come out the oven, Doc. Faye is probably watching right now in the delivery room.
She's probably not.
She's probably not. She's probably busy.
Probably busy.
She's probably busy. But y'all, we about to have a baby, y'all. Today is March the 4th, 2022. We about to have a baby, Doc. We waiting. That baby about here.
Yep.
That baby about here.
We just need him to turn over a little bit more. And we'll be ready to go.
Then we ready to
Come
pop.
on. Come
We just
on
ready for
over.
action right now. But yeah, nah, baby about here. So that's why Faye isn't on, because it's about showtime.
Yeah.
It's about showtime. So we ain't running them off. They just a little busy right now, but it's okay because you got your boys. You got your boys.
That's right.
Oh man, what's up, DD? What's going on, Stuart? We see your comment. We were just ignoring it for a couple of seconds. We love you though. Let's go ahead and do some introductions, man. We don't have no ladies to go first, so we're just gonna get the big man out the way.
Get the big man out the way. You know, get the big black man
out the way.
The big black man out the way.
Big black man.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Chips Ahoy. I'm enjoying Checkerboard Floyd. I hope everybody's doing good. I know what you're thinking, and you are correct. We just had a groundbreaking moment this past week, right?
If you look, the video that you wanted is in the.
Thank you very much. I
go to
appreciate
the
it. We just had a groundbreaking moment. Lee Alexander Scott, I've been knowing you for a nice and long time, and I think we just finally found out what was wrong with you, Lee. We found this out. Okay, you know, Zoe, don't hop on me because I'm talking about your brother. But you know, we get it now. We get it, and we about to. This is what it is. Okay, and who better to tell it, but his better half.
Y'all, please tell me that you've heard of this show, Captain Planet. My husband said he has never heard of this show.
Why is it doing that?
Hey, yo, how about you? We just let me do it. How about that?
What in the world just happened?
It's okay. It's okay.
Did I do that? Was that my fault? Was that operator error? All I did was hit
probably
the
was
video.
just probably.
Nah, it's okay. I got it. I'm gonna take care of it, man. Fonzo to the rescue. Let me do it. Okay. This is you know, sometimes you just gotta let me do it. Sometimes you just gotta let me do it. All right.
Yeah. You know, you the professional. You know what I mean? I'm just a pair.
She was putting that bass in her voice.
She put the bass, right. Exactly.
She was just putting that bass in her voice. That's it.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm here now. I'm here now. So
listen, as long as she don't do that Sunday morning, we good.
This is Timothy Clark.
She a full range.
Us all equally what is the issue or whatever he said with Mr. Lee Scott. And let me just go ahead and show everybody so that we can here we go.
Okay, so I know it was pretty low, but this brother never watched PBS. No Channel 9, no, you know, that it was low. So Sarai was saying that he had never heard of Captain Planet, but he ain't watched cartoons on Saturday. Now listen, that was sacred ground for me. Okay, 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, don't bother me. Batman on Captain Planet.
Oh man, they said they couldn't hear it.
They couldn't hear it because it was really low. Okay.
It was really low, phones.
What? Okay, no. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. I got y'all. See, you know what? And I appreciate you all in the comments. I really do. I appreciate you all in the comments. I'm gonna do this one more time, and I'm gonna make sure that y'all can hear it.
Guard your ears.
Hold on. Let me do this right now. Let me, Let me do this right now. Okay, all right, family. This is round 2 of showing everybody the stuff that Tim saw with Lee.
Y'all, please tell me that you've heard of this show, Captain Planet. My husband said he has never heard of this show a day in his life. He then told me that he's never watched PBS, Arthur, Zaboomafoo, nothing.
This is unacceptable, man.
I just want to just say real quick that
unacceptable,
girl fine,
bro.
That girl fine. I don't care. She can talk about me any day of the week, dog. That girl is fine.
Changing the subject, Lee.
Right,
No,
you
hey,
changing the
no,
subject,
we
man. See, this
talk
is what we're
talk.
gonna do.
You can talk about Captain Planet, Planet of the Apes. You can talk about anything you want, but
Look,
that girl fine, doc.
this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take you, we're gonna kidnap you, right? We're gonna duct tape you to a chair. And we're gonna catch you up on the last 25 years that you've been missing on this. We're gonna start with Mr. Rogers, okay? And you gotta stay woke the whole time. You gotta stay up. Because we gonna fix you, man. We gonna help. Your brother watched it. Alfonso watched it.
I watched
Well,
it.
we wasn't in the same spaces all the time. You know, we had different things to do. Mama Jenkins, I'm sorry, I had to let him know, but we wasn't always in the same spaces.
No
So,
magic school bus.
no magic
Drake,
school bus,
Drake
no
said
none
you
of
was
that.
watching MSNBC.
MSNBC.
Could have
CNN.
been. No, I
Yeah,
think Saturday mornings. Saturday mornings was like usually when we had to clean or we had sporting events when we were growing up. Like we started sports at 7 years old. So
Yeah,
like Saturday
I still saw Arthur. We was
right.
both
Arthur, that
playing
came on
sports.
during the week.
Arthur. I still saw
During the
Cliff as
week.
the big red dog.
I think I was watching Clifford, but I didn't watch Arthur and I didn't watch Captain Planet, whatever that was. So I mean, I seen some stuff, but not apparently the stuff that you guys have drawn such an affinity to. So I mean,
See, this is why y'all didn't feel my pain when Mr. Ratburn came out the closet. That hurt my soul, okay? that hurt right there. All right? It killed me. I was devastated. I was struggling with that information. It's okay, bro. It's all right. I just bought some good old duct tape. We just gonna duct tape to your chair, bro. We just gonna sit there and watch it, man.
Maria
So no
says
food, no
Captain
water.
Planet was not a PBS show.
Yeah, no, Captain
Well-
Planet was not a PBS show.
What was it on, Maria?
I think it was like Channel 5 or, one of them Saturday morning whatever. Because, we ain't had cable back then, but
I
they
think-
used to.
I think the bigger point is that Lee didn't watch cartoons.
Yeah, Lee didn't watch cartoons.
No, I watched
No,
cartoons.
that's not true.
I just didn't watch
We watched
that.
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z, yeah. I watched Static Shock growing up. Static Shock, Superman, Batman, Justice League.
That's Saturday morning.
Yeah, I watched that stuff. Said Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain.
That's WB. Everything you saying is WB. That's
Yeah,
what.
that's all WB. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that growing
Hey,
up.
I saw that, but see, I didn't watch Captain. Was Captain Planet on WB? No. So
No, that was Channel 5. But it's just a few channels down. We only had 6 of them. 6 or 7. Well, we didn't have a whole bunch of channels back then.
right.
There you go. Mine said
There you go.
Saturday
That's
morning
what was going
House
down.
and sporting events,
Season
but when
was
sports
over.
season was over, it was cartoons.
That's what was going down. We was cleaning the house. When we heard that music, clean your room.
Listen.
Diamond,
okay.
you are so right. You are so right. Everybody go press that like button. Subscribe to both channels. So LSC Official and our Sticks and Stones YouTube channel. Yes, we have 2.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that's cool, bro.
Well, that was lovely. That was my first time seeing that video by Soraya though. I ain't gonna front.
Yo, she fine, Doc.
Okay. All right.
All right,
Moving on.
Hey, y'all, you knew what you was doing when you was putting her on here, all right? So
No, we didn't. I mean, we just
you
making a
should
point.
have. You should have. You should have.
Obviously,
Shoot.
she
Ain't no
was
way
very
you gonna
passionate
put
about
her
that.
on there, and I ain't gonna say nothing, Doc.
Bishop Jackson, what's going on? I ain't finna let you sneak in and sneak out
Hey,
like you tried to
Bishop.
do.
The Bishop.
Praise the
Jackson
Lord.
is-
Praise the
gotta
Lord,
put on
everybody.
Grace and peace, Bishop Jackson. You gotta put on your Bishop voice.
Why
Bless your heart.
is it the
Bless
church
your heart.
whispers? So
Bless your heart and all your parts. They because they just they fresh off of a tent revival. That's why.
it
They
seemed
fresh
like
off of a 3-hour sermon.
it seemed like the higher, the heavier your rank, the lighter you whisper. Like the bishops and
Right.
apostles, they're like, "How was
Yeah, you just got to come
Like,
close. Bend down and come close.
you gotta get close. You gotta get close.
Hey,
I'm a lowly elder, so I can yell.
Mm-hmm.
so how you guys always say that I gotta figure out how I do my introductions, and I gotta figure out like something to do.
Yeah.
I figured something out, right? So I'm gonna start. What I'm gonna start doing with you guys is when I come on, and the first thing I do is I share my name. My name is Zoe, right? And it's real simple. And the next thing I want to do is I feel like it's my responsibility as the lowest ranking member of Sticks and Stones
Oh, get
to
out of
share
here.
with you guys, uh, to share with you guys the funniest thing I've seen since the last time we were together. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's fine, Stuart. It can be lame. It can be lame, but when you laugh, you'll like it. You laugh, you like it. So what I want to do is I want to share with y'all the funniest thing that I've seen in these upcoming days, and I think that it would be well worth it.
Oh God, yeah.
What? What? What?
The lady just needed a little bit of oxygen. That's
Man.
it. Ain't no
Yeah, that's
ventilation in
horrible.
them lace fronts. She
That's
just needed
terrible.
a little bit of oxygen.
That's terrible.
She had that. She had that cap on.
Hey,
Let
look.
that girl
Hey,
be
when I
great wherever
Wasn't
she
rest for the
is.
weary. You feel
yo,
me?
when I saw that, I was dead. G, I was dead. And then I wanted to ask somebody like, is it really that serious? Is it really
It be
like
hot
that?
up under
So
there. You can imagine, walking around with a football helmet on all day.
It hot up under them.
It'd be hot.
Hey, them hair hats be hot, doc. You know,
It'd
it's
be
tough.
hot.
That's
Look like a
that's
non-saint
tough.
problem. Now that's a lie, Stuart.
that's a
That is
fat
not
lie.
the truth. That is not the truth, brother. Listen,
That's a fat lie.
listen.
Hey, that's a everybody problem right there.
Right. Same.
Shoot.
No, you didn't. I don't know
They be
what
spending their
you
little.
think this is. I just want to know if it's really that high. Maybe y'all, just let me know in the comments as we go along. Is it really that deep to where you need to find a way to, you know, she took that
So
whole thing off.
you played
No,
football. You didn't walk around with the helmet on all the whole game. You had to take that thing off, didn't you? You had to let it breathe.
Yeah, sometimes took
when
it
it was
off.
cold outside, I kept it on though. When it was cold
Yeah, when it
outside,
was
we
cold,
kept
I
that
kept it
thing
on.
on.
Exactly. She was hot though. She was
We-
hot.
Well, that's what that is. So that's me. Lee, go ahead and introduce yourself so that we can get to the actual
All
pick.
right. All right. My name is Lee. 3 letters, two of them are the same, and I am so excited about today's show with my two brothers. Um, you know, I got my Mango Madness with me, so I'm feeling a little reckless. So we can get on with the festivities of tonight. Take it away, Zoe.
Okay. Well, today's subject is coming from a video that was sent. Man, this video was sent a while ago. It was actually sent to us in a group chat, and we're not gonna, really respond. We're not gonna play the whole video in its entirety. I'm probably not gonna play much of any of it. But if any of you guys are aware, there was a video of a pastor that was talking to his congregation, and this was what he hosts, a biannual business meeting that he hosts, where he's just talking and they're just talking about different things going on in the church. And he got to the point to where he said to his people, he's tired and he's exhausted, and it's time for him to move on. So I'll play some of it. The video is 20 minutes long in its entirety, so I won't play all of it, but I'm going to play some of it just so you guys can, kind of get the gist of what we're talking about here. Can we hear it?
Nope.
No,
All right, one
can't
second.
hear it at
Hold
all.
on. I'm about to fix that right now. Because I can't hear it neither. Goodness gracious. All right, people. Let me get this together real quick. Lee, you sent this video in. While I get this together, can you kind of just stand on it, everybody?
I can. But you just sound like you're underwater now. So
Yeah, you under the sea,
something
brother.
what's up with the mic too. But yeah. So this pastor, this was during a business meeting. I guess semi annual business meeting, and he was telling his church. The long and short of it was that he had started pastoring 17 years ago, and he turned on and he hasn't turned off for 17 years. And he's saying that it was getting to the point to where it was dangerous, and he felt that his body was betraying him, and he felt the stress levels was going up, and he felt tightness in his chest, and he felt like if he kept going at the pace that he was going, that he would indeed crumble under the pressures of ministry, of leadership. So he was letting them know, basically, like, if I don't do this now, I won't make it. And do this is what he was saying, was like he needed to step away and only do the things that he found that was life giving to him, that he enjoyed doing, that
Right.
he looked forward to, and it was not a stressor for him in the pastor. And at the end, everybody stood and they supported him and they clapped. But he was truly burying his soul at the time. Do you have?
Yeah, I'm ready when you guys are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I'm
can
ready
go
when you
ahead
guys are.
and kick that sound for me. Yes,
So
sir.
I've hit a wall. I think I'm officially at the burnt out point. My first job, I punched a time clock. It was my very first job in high school. I've been working since I was 14. And my first job, I punched a time clock. A whole lot of my first jobs, I punched time clock. And you punch, for my young people who don't know anything about that, it was a physical card and a machine, and you punched in when you got in, you punched out at lunch, you punched back in when you finished lunch, and you punched out when you left the day. And the cool thing about it was when you punched out, you could do whatever you wanted to do because you weren't on the clock. And I started the church, as you know, 17 years ago, and I feel like in December of 2004, I punched in, I clocked in. And 17 years later, I've yet to clock out. I've never, in my opinion, clocked out a single time in 17 years. I've been pastoring since I was 22. I'm sorry, for 22 years since I was 35. To give you a lens of how long that is, my daughter Jada is graduating in 3 months from UNC Chapel Hill. When I started pastoring, when I started pastoring, she was 3 months old. Jasmine, who's a freshman at UNC Chapel Hill, wasn't even born when I started pastoring. My son Kyle was 14 when I started pastoring. He was our first drummer and our first sound technician. So that's how long this has been. So I haven't been able to really be off or to clock out, and I've hit a wall. I'm tired. Pastoring is just hard. It's God's calling, but it's hard. And I have just notes because I don't want to miss anything, and I don't want to say anything that I shouldn't say. Pastoring in a pandemic is even harder because who knew what to do, and who knew how to really respond. And then pastoring through a construction project is even harder. And I think I had an illusion that 17 years in, it would just get easier. But it's not getting any easier. It's getting harder. And so I pastor three kinds of people. I pastor people who work so hard to help take the weight off. So grateful for y'all. And then I pastor people who are weight. They're not trying to take the weight off. They want you to carry them. They're not, but that's okay because that's ministry. People come to church because they need help. I'm good with them. But it's the third group that makes it hard. That's the group that hovers over the top of the people that are the weight, and they push the weight down. We got a lot of them.
You can pause it. Yep.
It's deep. It's deep. Now the video, like I said, the video is 20 minutes long, and there's a lot of things that he says. He talks about stewardship. He talks about goes into details about the people that he pastored, just the type of people in general, and it was a lot that he said, and we'll talk about it piece by piece, but at first we'll just hit it on the surface level, and just kind of react to what we just saw, and then we'll dig deeper. So I guess I mean Tim, just your reaction to what you just saw.
One thing, so y'all know, I try to, every time you guys send a video out, right? Every time we send a video out and we say we're gonna deal with this, when I can, I try to go back and I find the original video, right? So I'm gonna find, instead of just the 20-minute clip, I'm gonna go get the 2-hour sermon.
Part-time FBI.
I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna dig. And it was pretty interesting, some of the things that I can kind of conclude. This guy is really passionate about pastoring and the ministry. He is 100% 10 toes down. He's the pastor that you want to be a pastor, that type of person who's going to do, whatever it takes for the people. And he's doctrinally, be in alignment doctrinally, organizationally. They've set some things, some protocols in order, man. And I'm like, they've handled their business. But another thing that I can definitely appreciate about this guy is that he is he's direct. Probably not as direct as he would be in the pulpit, but this is a business meeting, and I just like how he, really kept it funky about some stuff. If it was, he said it. With this whole dialogue that he had at the end, this was after all the business was given. But there was even systems in place and shared weight and all of that stuff, right? But even after all of that, he's telling his congregation, hey, I am tired. He's telling them, I'm tired, even after he's done all he could to, delegate responsibilities, and these elders are over this group of people. You got a problem, you can't reach me. He got multiple campuses. He's got what he calls his e-campus, and he's got a pastor over that, and he's just, it's a lot. He's got a whole school. There's a school through the church. They were just doing, like he just said, a construction project in that building during the pandemic time or whatever. All of that's going on. And you can say, okay, no wonder you're tired. You've done all of this in 17 years. But I just really appreciate how honest he was in front of the people. And then I think about it sometimes. Sometimes do we expect too much out of the pastors? He named out 3 people who take off the weight, the people who are the weight, right? So the people who come to church to be served, and then the people kind of push the weight down and make it even more, like the people who he laid it out, the people who don't give. You guys don't really believe in the doctrinal tenets of the house, which makes it difficult because that's how everything is kind of funneled through based off of the teaching in scripture. That's very important to him, and it makes it weight. It makes it even more difficult because he's thinking, okay, I've got people. He said that, I've had to shake hands and pray for people who the Spirit of God told me that you're not for me. You're not for the best interest of this church. You know what I mean? And that's that's turned into weight. So I'm thinking like, man, you got all of these resources, but you still tired. You know, imagine the pastors that don't have those resources or don't have those people who are willing. You know what I mean? Imagine those. So I'm thinking like, okay, do we place because we understand the call, the responsibility, the call to the office of the pastor. But some do we place too much burden on our pastors? At what point do we step in and say, hey, this is my call in this place, and I'm gonna walk jointly in lockstep with this pastor? Is that that's that's where what kind of stuck out to me, you know what I mean? Uh yeah, so that's all I got. Ozo, we lost you,
So we
bro.
can't hear you.
I'm sorry. That's me. When I first saw this video, um, I went through and I watched it for the full 20, and I just really wanted to listen. I was just really listening to him, and he talked about one of the things that he spoke about were the people who felt that things would be better if they were done a certain way. They were combative with the way the things were being done, not with what was being done, but just the way it was being done, because they felt like there was a better way to do it in their eyes, right? This should be done this way, or that should be done that way. Um, and he talked about how, you know, those people, there are people within your own circle that will constantly try to tear you down, right? Constantly trying to tear you down. And he said that part of the calling is being able to deal with these people and other things. But the one thing that he said, which was later in the video that you guys didn't see, which was he's not healing as quickly as he used to. There used to be a time where he could take those blows and he was good by the time he got back in front of the people. And it didn't affect him, and he wasn't, affected by it. It didn't affect him spiritually. That he was good. That he could step in front of the people and he was solid. And he's not healing as fast anymore. Those wounds, from those blows that he takes from other people, aren't healing as fast anymore. And that is what led to the fear that that was spoken about that in the video, the fear of things getting dangerous for him mentally. And I thought that was, for me personally, that was super deep, because a lot of times as followers, we don't really think about the blows that we put on leadership. We don't really think about how the things we say could be taken or could be perceived by leaders. And a lot of times not even thought about. There are so many times where people say, hey, oh, well, I feel like if we did it this way, it wouldn't be no big deal. If we did it that way, or like people want things to be done that's convenient for them. And what's convenient for you isn't going to be convenient for the next one. And there's this never-ending cycle of everybody wanting convenience. And it's never good for the body. It's just good for you. But we put that on leadership. And we expect them to carry all this weight. And we kind of forget that, like Liz said, they're people too. And they got to heal too. And not only do they have to heal, they have to heal and then stand in front of your butt and minister to you, knowing the blows that you just sent their way. Man, that's a tough job. And I don't think that we acknowledge how us as followers make it that much harder. I really don't. I don't think that we really understand how much harder we make the responsibility of leadership. Because not only do we make it hard for them to serve, but sometimes we can make it hard for them to take breaks. Because then when we don't see them, now we're saying something else. Now we're having other commentary. Where they at? Why they not doing this? Why he not doing this? How come he ain't preaching? Why somebody else doing it? Like, we make it hard for them to step away. It's hard for them to do the job, and then when they need to take that time, we make it hard then because of the commentary that we could dish out. And it's tough. And I commend this pastor for coming out and saying what he said to his people and letting them know straight up. Like Tim, like you said, he was putting some stuff out there. He was letting it be known, like, hey, like, I got there's some people here that make it hard to pastor.
Man.
Straight up. There are people here that make it hard to pastor. And he said he cool with it because that's part of the job. But he's not healing that fast no more. So now he needs some time so that he can really heal. That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. Brother Elkins, you asked the question, was this recent? Yes, this was very recent because he even talked about the stresses of pastoring through COVID. He said it made it even harder. So yes, it was very recent. Very recent.
Let me go pull up the date.
So, I mean, it's a real thing of what we're dealing with here. And it leads to the discussion of, as followers, right? What are things that we can do to better serve our leadership? Period. No matter who your leader is. What are better things that we can do to serve our leadership?
And just this was February 26th, and yes, he did. Yes, Lady Sky said he's taking off the whole month of March, so he's not preaching.
He's
March
only doing the activities that that he says are life giving. So,
which is Bible class for him.
Bible class. He teaches Bible class, and he says that's not stressful for him.
Yeah.
So, I'm really, and I know I got Bishop Jackson in the comments. I know I got Styles, who's a pastor, in the comments. Lady Scott. Probably more clergymen will see this, and I'm going to try to be as delicate as possible. But I do have my mango madness, so bear with me. I want to be as clear and transparent as possible, without seeming taking blind low blow shots at the church, because I'm talking to two people, and myself included, who love the church, and we are the church, and we was raised in it, and we love it dearly. But when I say this, take my words for what they are, not what you want them to be. Sometimes the church sucks. Sometimes the church just sucks, and the reason that it sucks is not because of its intended nature. What?
Go ahead. My bad. No.
Sometimes it's not because it's its intended nature or its function or its purpose. Sometimes it sucks because if you are called to the church and you actually have a purpose, that means that you are held to an account of what it is that you do, in front of and for other people that are in the church. You have a responsibility and you hold that burden. And if you love God, then you have a unique relationship with the responsibility that He gave you. You want to honor that. You want to make sure that it's the best. You want to make sure that things are done right. You want to make sure that, if God gave you a ministry or an auxiliary or a church, you want to make sure that it's pastored well. You want to make sure that it's done well, steward well. The problem comes in when people want to take responsibility from you to help you. However, they don't have the same burden as you. Therefore, they believe certain things are acceptable that you don't. So because you're still responsible for their walk with Christ, rather than breaking their commitment to the Lord by saying that their sacrifice is not acceptable in your eyes, you would rather just take that responsibility away and do it yourself. A lot of pastors feel like they cannot let go of things because the burden of the ministry, the responsibility of the ministry, they feel is not as strong with the people that they would release it to. Therefore, I would rather do everything than give it to somebody and they do a lesser job, and then I have to give an account for what it is that they give instead of what I would give in my suffering. Leadership is so lonely in this way because it isolates you from the very people that are called to you. And sometimes it can be a very scary thing to let things go, especially in the Lord's church. So this man, first off, I'm glad that he was able to communicate what it is that he was going through. But it's not just him. It's not just him. Like, a lot of pastors, like, if you look at the numbers of how many churches closed their doors in the last 2 years, it's ridiculous. And it's not just because the church didn't have the support of it. It's because the pastors are tired. The pastors are tired. And the pastors really don't have a respite. They don't have a retreat. They don't have you say, oh, well, he should take time for himself. When? Because as a pastor, you are for other people. So they have priority of your time. Like, I cannot tell you how many pastors I've been around that will be supposedly on break or vacationing, and yet they're still answering calls, they're still answering texts, they're still going to clergy visits, still going. Still stuff. Yeah, it's supposed to be a vacation because people don't have people don't have they don't think that the Lord takes breaks. They don't think that the Lord takes breaks, and because a pastor is supposed to be a representation of that in the earth, well, when I'm sick, he's supposed to come, no matter what. When I need him, he's supposed to answer, no matter what. It's tough. We say they should take time for themselves, but realistically, when would we give them time? When would we, as a body, say, "Hey, for pastor, when is Pastor Appreciation Month? October? Is it October?
Yes.
Y'all know?
It's October.
It's October.
Yes.
Let's all the churches of America, let's do this. For the month of October, we tell all of our pastors to take a break. No preaching, no teaching, no visits, no traveling to see this person. October. Let's say this. Y'all don't do nothing. We got services. You can just come and sit in the back of the church if you want to. How many churches would do that?
I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea too, but ain't nobody gonna do it. Nobody's gonna do it. Like, and that's why these you see these pastors slowly dwindling down. And then, no headlines when the pastors are burnt out, but yet they're still doing the work. But then let them get caught in the fault. The same faults that they've been covering other people for years. Let them get caught in that same fault. It's a headline. And Larry Reed coming. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, Larry Reed coming anyway.
Larry Reed only coming for some nonsense. He coming for some mess. If it ain't no mess, he ain't coming.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I say that in knowing the burden and the heaviness of pastoring, it becomes even more important to set, because let's talk about this particular pastor. He has some systems in place.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
Yep.
To where if he does not show up, that it will still keep running. There will still be,
and let me just say this:
people ministering and people preaching, and all
let me say this: this mentality, this thing that he's communicating, is not just for pastors in the church. This happens to worship leaders. This happens to subordinate leaders. This happens to everybody that holds a position in ministry in which they feel like they have to be on eggshells. They have to walk on glass, you know, just to do what it is that they say God has called them to do. It's not just for pastors; it's everywhere. I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
So
Tim.
let's go. I appreciate you saying that. So I said this a couple weeks ago. So we have to take the time to dismantle the pedestal that we put our leaders on. Um, I think sometimes we also have to, our leaders have to dismantle the pedestal that they feel that they are put on. And I said this as well. At the end of the day, that's your brother, that's your sister, that's your. So our responsibility is not merely to the people, but it's to God as well. And at the end of the day, if we stop this, I'm still a man of God. If we stop, if a woman stops singing, or if a woman stops preaching, she's still a woman of God. What we've put, we've 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 put these labels up, and we maintain them based on how we operate, right? Maintain them based on how we, and in different arenas, it's different. You know, for some people, some sects of people, sabbaticals are required, and they're built into the schedule and built into the church calendar, where no questions asked. This is what happens in August. This is what happens in October, right? No questions asked. Um, Certain other sects of people in ministry and church, it's different. Um, yeah. So that part, I think we can adjust that, you know, based on the guidance of the leadership, but it don't have to be that way. It don't. It don't. Uh, my dad used to tell me you got to teach people how to treat you. Now, that might seem harsh or whatever when it comes to the pastor and I'm just a lowly sheep and all of that type. But at the end of the day, we all sheep following one shepherd. At the end of the day, we are all sheep following one shepherd. And as the church, we are a body of sheep. And a person is given responsibility, but that person has to follow the shepherd as well. We follow in one shepherd, all as a one whole conglomerate, one whole collective. So when the sheep behave more, or when the sheep are not willing to follow, when the sheep act more like donkeys, then that's when they act more like mules instead of being the sheep that's willing to follow that one shepherd, given through the guidance of this person, that this set man that's before you. I think that's the thing that becomes difficult. We all have responsibilities in the church. We all do. Um, Not
Hold
just
on, let's
assignments. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Not We're not just waiting for a task to be given to us. We should be seeking out responsibility from God. And He gives us tasks and He gives us assignment based on, where we are in this place.
I think what
Right.
exaggerates the exaggerates the burnout, if you will, of leaders is when you just said that we all have a responsibility, right? But not everybody feels that way. We this is a time of great consumerism when it comes to the church. Like I come, I see it, I see the church, I see the band, I see the singers, I see the pastor, I see everybody in their respective places. But then I go back to my uh to my home, and same time, same bat time, same bat channel. Next week, I'll see you next week, and
Hmm.
we don't really see the responsibility, the collective responsibility of people as a whole going upwards when it comes to their responsibility in the church. And Of course, we didn't grow up in that time, and we didn't grow up in that type of era. But I mean, that's kind of where we are now. Like there are people in the church, young and old, that don't feel like they have a responsibility. They'll come to church, they'll come to church, they'll go to church, and then they'll go home, and there's nothing there. Like so that makes things even harder. Makes things even harder. And again, you know, I got my mango madness, so I'm just gonna talk.
Keep it
You know,
funky, brother.
I'm just talking. I'm just gonna keep it funky. Like y'all, it becomes so unfair to leaders because the expectation of the pews doesn't change, yet the people will not they won't give to support it, they won't serve to achieve it, and then they'll criticize when they don't see it. So then the pastor is left holding the bag, saying, "Okay, well, this is the best I had," even though you're comparing them to when they did have help or when they did have a lot of service and a lot of people behind the scenes making things happen. Now you don't have that for a multitude of reasons. The last reason being COVID. But then we're gonna. It's too convenient to just blame COVID because this has been a slow decline when it comes down to service in the church to begin with. So there, the Christianity is not the world in a sense of we have a direct correlation of what you love. If you say you love God, if you say you love the church, then you give something. Like if love is going to equate, if you say you love something but you're not giving anything, you're not sacrificing anything, well then you a liar. You're a liar. And then to say, hey, you are coming to me and you're telling me that you love God, you'll worship in my face, you'll do all these things in my face, yet you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. So I see your hypocrisy, yet you want me not to say anything because if I say something to you, you're gonna get offended and leave the church. Yet all you're really doing now is taking up space. You're not really in the church because you're not a part, you're not serving.
Buddha is not Jesus.
Oh, okay, you is.
That is what the pastor said in the video when he went on to talk about that. He talked about how people talked about how, well, you know, this person is a nice person or this person does good things. They should be able to help or serve or things of this nature. But it goes back to what Lee said. They may be a nice person, but they're not following in the responsibility of stewardship that is biblical. And like he says Buddha is not Jesus, but people want to push people on him or push things on him because, you know, he may think people are nice or they're good or whatever, and there may be, but he just said he doesn't believe that. He doesn't believe that someone can.
It's not biblical.
Right.
It's not biblical at all. No, you go back to the Old Testament. Well, you go back to the Old Testament of the people who were charged with taking care of the temple of the place that God dwells. In the New Testament, Jesus came to eradicate. He broke the veil, so now the temple is our respective bodies now. So God is supposed to be dwelling inside of us. Now, if you're going to say that God is dwelling inside of you and that God is love and that He is going to compel you to live a certain way, well, then how can you say you love God yet you'll do nothing for him? That doesn't even make practical sense. If I say I love you, Tim, but I'm not willing to walk across the street for you, I'm a liar. That's what it is. Drake is asking what can be done to increase this sense of responsibility. That's on every level, Drake. Like the responsibility that we have as Christians, it starts young and it goes up until the oldest, until the elders of the church. The responsibility is everybody's. If somebody can't do it, who will take up this mantle? Who will take up this flag? It has to be flown. It has to be carried. Who will take it up? And well, I don't feel called to do that. I don't feel called to do that. I don't feel called to do that. Well, okay. Let's just call it what it is. Some things you don't have to be called to do. You just do. You don't have to be called to fold programs. You don't have to be called to greet people with a smile. You don't have to be called to do that. You can just do it. And from service, God reveals himself to what he actually true calls you to do. But you don't get that revelation if you're not serving. Just do it. I wish we could just put the Nike sign, a big Nike swoosh right over the stained glass windows. Just do it. Just do it. All this, you over spiritualize things that are just naturally right. Just do it. If somebody needs help, just do it. Well, let's pray about it. No. Well, why are we praying? Why are we praying when you got two working legs, two working arms that God gave you to be an answer? Sometimes we don't move like we're the answers that we pray for. You praying for stuff, yet God gave the answer, which is you.
Right. You asking God to move, but he gonna move through you.
Just do it.
He gave you the unction, you know.
Like he's the person. He's the person that put that in your spirit, and then you gave it back to him. You don't have to be like everything. Don't have to be. Oh well, if the Lord be willing, and if the if God moves 3 times, and if the fleece is wet on this day, and if the fleece is wet, just do it. Just do it. The churches are failing. The preachers are burnt out because we have become overly consumeristic, and it's what the church can do for me, not what you can do for it. God reveals himself in service. Yeah. Not when you just sitting on your hands watching other people do it. And I'm not gonna make this about just one thing or the other. This is worldwide. This is church-wide. This is kingdom-wide, because this problem exists in every church. In every church. I'm not just talking about Lively Stone. I'm not just talking about Pentecostalism. I'm not just talking about apostolics or Kojic. I'm talking about everywhere. This exists everywhere.
Look at the suicide rates amongst pastors. Are you kidding me? The suicide rate amongst pastors within the last 10 years. Seriously? Skyrocketed. This whole deconstruction of faith movement is being led by pastors. Ex-pastors who are choosing to walk away from the faith. People who, one, never really received the Holy Ghost in the first place. Some of them. But
no, some of them have the Holy Ghost. They're just tired of dealing with y'all.
But no, that's not necessarily true.
I'm serious, Tim.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm saying that's not necessarily true. But some of them have not been. The basic point of it is they're walking away and deconstructing faith because the process is not working. The idea that God comes down and he sent his spirit to affect change in people, and those people come together as a collective unit to do a work, is something broken in that process that's causing the people who are charged to lead to kill themselves. Are you kidding me? Suicide amongst the clergymen. Man. Now, suicide rate in general is up anyway. But the person that's supposed to do the eulogy is killing himself. Yo, if that don't scream, I don't know what else does.
We have to acknowledge that we have a problem. We got to get to the first step. Acknowledge that we have a problem. That culturally we have a problem in terms of with fixing us first and fixing the consumer mentality that we have put on the church, then also fixing the expectations, the unsaid and unwritten expectations that we place on our leaders. Because even if you don't communicate it, you expect it. And that expectation is communicated in other ways. If you expect your pastor to be on 24/7, 365 days a week, then what is he to do? What is she to do? Because letting you down is akin to God letting them down. What are they supposed to do to show themselves in the way that they were supposed to, but yet you have an expectation of them that they can never reach? So they keep working and they keep getting burnt out. And then as soon as they get to the place where the pastor was and says, hey, I can't do it anymore. I'm tired. I'm broken down. The church is not willing to accept your resignation. They throw your resignation back in your face. It's mind-boggling how, again, there's going to be certain rules for one person, yet another set of rules for another person. Either we're going to be consistent or we're not. Because if we talking about just a 9-to-5 job, when you put in for time, and say I'm putting my 2 weeks in, or I'm putting my vacation time in. Now, there's a conversation had, but at a certain point in time, you can clock out. You can go off and not worry about the trials of the job. When are we going to give that to them?
To Tim's point, I pulled this up. I was doing the research. According to the Schaefer Institute, 70% of pastors constantly fight depression. 71% are burned out. 72% of pastors say they only study the Bible when they are preparing for sermons. 80% believe pastoral ministry has negatively affected their families. 70% say they don't have a close friend.
Man.
And we ain't helping.
Not at all. Not at all. We'll drive. We the people, like we're the people that'll go on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and say, hey, can you believe I saw the pastor in the bar? Well, your attitude and your friends drove him to the bar in the first place.
I know this is real heavy, y'all, and a part of the reason, some of the reason why this is so extremely near and dear to my heart. And if we don't allow the Stones platform, so we go ahead and talk real talk. In the past 2 years, my pastor, has lost the people that he called counselors, friends, confidants, people who he could go to. We were just at the funeral of Bishop Courtney Jones earlier this week. And, as I looked into the eyes of my pastor, and I saw him put on his pastor's guard, he is gracious, man. He's not going to fail as far as he's going to be up as much as he possibly can. But you got to see past that. I see past that. And I hurt. And I mourn, even as he's mourning. And I mourn how it's affecting him. Because guess what, y'all? We're expecting a fiery word from the Lord on Sunday. It's got to be fire. You heard me? That's what we're looking for. But our pastor, our brother, is hurting. He is hurting. And if you know anything about your pastor, he might tell, he's not going to wear that as a badge. Not gonna do it. That's his personality. That was my youth pastor. So I can say I kind of know him a little bit. He's not gonna wear it as a badge. What can we do to lessen the load just a little bit? I'm just talking to Lively Stone, you know, and he probably wouldn't want me to say. I don't know how he'd be feeling once he goes see this because I'm sure he's gonna watch it. Uh, but we can do some things to lessen the load because we care about him and we know him and we know how serious he takes his responsibility to God and to you. What can we do? What can we do? He's lost his confidants. He's lost his the people who he could go and receive his counsel from. Some of those people are not here. What can we do, man? That's what I'm asking myself. Now, what can I do? Sometimes me just being there. So I try to, make sure I was there. That's just what I did. I'm not saying y'all do what I did. That's just what I did. But we can do something. Because that's not just our path, that's our brother. And I don't know, that like that pastor said, it's only so many times you can get hit before healing. The healing, you don't just bounce back like you used to. That's all I'm saying, man. So you got to we this is very important to the people that you are listening to right now. So yeah.
Well, with that being said, it's about that time. So we at the final word piece. I mean, that sounded like a final word to me, Tim. I don't know if you want to add to it.
Yeah, that was my final word, man.
What you got, Lee? Matter of fact, Lee, you go last because you've been the preaching voice of today. My final word, here's what I'll say. I'll echo what was said earlier in the video, and it's just something that really sat with me when he said that Buddha is not Jesus. Just because someone is nice, does good things, does not mean they are fit to serve God's people. And not only does that work for others, but sometimes you got to look yourself in the mirror and say you got to do better too. Just because I've been doing good and being nice to folk don't mean I'm fit. Don't mean I'm doing right. So I think we got to move beyond the space of being kind. We got to move beyond the space of being nice and wanting people to be nice, and we have to move into the realm of what it truly means to love God and what it truly means to serve. And it might cause some of us to look in the mirror and get upset because you realize that we failed. And that's okay. Sometimes those moments are important. Sometimes we need those gut checks. But it needs to be done.
Indeed.
I was trying to stay general with the whole thing in terms of talking about, just the critique of the church, a church that we all love, but I'm just gonna talk to Lively Stone for my final words. Tim, uh, on the day, on the night of, on the night that it was I think Thursday or a Friday night, It was the first service for my grandfather, and we got the word about your father. Um, and in that moment, I understood what pastoring was, um, because we all were going through something at that time. Yet I saw in my father's eyes how upset he was that he couldn't be there for you and for your mom and for your family at that time, even though we were going through something really, really bad. And nobody really understood that. But I got it. I understood it. That's that's how deep this thing goes. Like even in his worst moment, he still feels compelled to be there for somebody else, even when he doesn't even have the emotional awareness at the time to fully be there. He still wants to be there. He still feels he's called to be there, and that's what pastoring is. Pastoring is being a punching bag, if you will. You got to take punches from everybody. You got to take punches from the people that you know are new and they just started this walk out. You got to take the punches from people who will smile in your face yet stab you in the back. You got to take the punches from the people that really mean well, but they don't have all of the tools and capacity and competence to make life smooth for you. You end up cleaning more stuff up than letting stuff go. Like it's a lot of punching that goes on. And you know, again, I'm just talking a lively stone right now. Like I look at our leaders, but I'm not just talking for my leader. I'm talking for for and the subordinate leaders. That Pastor D's has been through a rough 2 years. If you haven't noticed,
My God.
she's put down a lot of people in her family. Like
My
my
God.
drummer has been through a lot in my 2 years. Like if you
Juggle.
look at the people who are serving in ministry, they've had a rough go of it for 2 years, and yet and still they came and they served people in their hurt, in their inconvenience. And sometimes it wasn't easy. Well, a lot of times it wasn't easy, but they served anyway. And as a community, as a body, here's what happens when we do those things, and we're exalting. There is a type of worship that happens when we exalt God over our problems. The things that we are consecrated and we say we do for Christ, those things are untouchable no matter the consequence or no matter the circumstance that we find ourselves in. So if I say, "Hey, I serve God like this," well then when I gave it to God, it no longer became subordinate to anything else. I still serve that way no matter what. When I lost my grandparents, I still served the same way. When I lost my friend, when I lost my mentor, when I lost my great grandmother, when I lost my father-in-law, when I lost people, I still served the same way. And I'm not saying that to be don't take this as a grandiose position. Take the lesson of it and say, serving. If you are giving this to God and you say you love God, if you're giving something to the Lord, then it is no longer subordinate. It is no longer um uh around, well, I'm not feeling well today. Oh well, I'm tired today. I'm tired. No, 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 no. God gave you, if God gives you something, then you owe it to him to give it back, right back to him. If he gave you 10 talents, he expects 10 talents back. And that's just word. You can't just say, "Oh, well, I'm not feeling it today." God doesn't take off days for you. So for you to say, "Oh, well, I'm not doing," like we've taken that up and we've taken that mentality of saying, "Hey, you know, you know, I can serve out of convenience," which we try to make it easy and we try to make it fun and we try to make it, as less of a strain. But understand, like, ministry is a grind. Ministry is a grind. No matter what your hands find to do, you will find yourself grinding. And then you have to make it. You have to make a decision. Am I going to exalt my circumstance? Am I going to exalt my obstacles? Am I going to exalt those, or am I going to exalt Christ over that? That's what we got to do. And really, this is like, I'm looking for the picture. I'm looking for the church. I'm looking for the story of a full church, of an entire body of Christ that is willing to exalt Christ over themselves. And it comes from service. It comes from loving one another enough to say, hey, Tim, I know you're going through a lot. What can I do for you this week? Hey, what can I do for you, Zoe? What can I do for you this week? Knowing I can't do what they're called to do in terms of the ministry. I can't direct like Fonzo. Fonzo is a wizard in the production room. I can't do what he does. But what I can do is make sure that he has all the tools to make sure that he's better in that space. I can't play like Tim. But what I can do is make sure that he has what he needs to make sure that he can be free and he can play up to his actual natural talent on that time, to where he's not worried about anything. What can I do for these people? When we love God and we love one another, then we become the body of Christ. Not before. Not before. It doesn't happen before. And that's what we got to do. And once we do that, then we can take the weight off of the pastors. Because it won't be a strain. Hey, I need people to do this. Hey, I need people to do this. Always dealing in a need instead of an abundance.
Yeah, that's a whole thing there.
We can do it. I promise we can do it. It doesn't take much. It just takes a switching of mentality. Switch your mentality up to say, hey, I'm going to exalt Christ over whatever I'm going through. Hey, I can't do this, but what can I do? And I guarantee you can do something. And if you're going to truly take to yourself like, oh well, I can't do anything. Well then, you might need to you might need to take a long look in the mirror and have a come to Jesus meeting. Because if you're really going to rationale that you can do nothing more for Christ, well then, is what it is. Is what it is. But for the people that are sticking their necks out and serving, and that you have an expectation when you come into the house of God of the pastor and the pastoral team and the worship team and the band and the greeters and the ushers you have an expectation when you walk in. You have an expectation. It is uncommunicated. It's not verbally communicated, but you do have an expectation. And if you walk into that place without an expectation, yet you will give nothing to the vision, well then you are the problem. You are the problem. You are the reason that these pastors are walking away.
Sister Michelle said, "Bring back part 2." We might have to.
Well, we might
have to run this back next week.
It's 8:20, and I'm sure if I started talking about this, Erica would throw a fit. Like Erica I probably wouldn't even get a word in with 8. But
let's do this, because you had a mouthful. Yeah. Let's then talk about balance next week. We're gonna deal.
That's good.
Balance. We're gonna deal with balance, because there's passion that comes with serving. Sometimes passion can run that candlestick, on both ends.
And you'll burn yourself out before you even get started.
Yeah, we're gonna run it back. We're gonna deal with some other stuff, but next week we're gonna talk about the balance of all this.
I just want to give a round of applause for Lee Scott. We need that Snapple every week, Doc. Well, I mean, there's nothing else to be said after that. I mean, it's it. That's a wrap. We appreciate you guys. Love you all.
Oh yeah, it's women's conference next week, guys. We probably won't be on.
Oh,
probably won't be on. We'll let you know. We might do a pre-recorded episode and probably get to it before.
We'll do something for y'all. We ain't gonna leave y'all hanging.
Yeah, it's gonna be something.
We're gonna do something for y'all. But
Hashtag just do it.
all day.
Just do it.
That's it.
Do it.
Sticks and
That
stones make
Shia,
great
that
people.
Shia LaBeouf, that
Just
Shia
do
LaBeouf meme when he's in front of that green screen. He's just
Yeah.
like, just do it.
What happened to Shia LaBeouf? I don't know.
Man, Shia's living his best life.
I hope so.
Appreciate you guys. Until next time. Sticks and stones will
Sticks
break your
stones.
bones.
These words will help you.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.